Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Covington Board of Education to order. Ms. Egan, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Gastrite?
Here.
Mr. Simpson? Ms. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Haggard?
Present. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here. Mr. Simpson will join us momentarily. For those of us in the room, if you take a moment to silence your phones or any smart devices that you have so we're not interrupted this evening, I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to start with public input. Members of the public may address the board during the period set aside by the board without submitting an item for the agenda. No action shall be taken during this portion of the meeting on issues raised by employees or the public unless deemed an emergency by the board. Please note that comments are asked to refrain from personal remarks in which an individual is named. Comments are limited to 2 minutes unless extended by the board chair. Critical comments or complaints are processed through the district's complaint procedures. Questions and concerns will be addressed by the board through various venues, including but not limited to the district website and email. We have one person signed up for public input tonight, and that is Abdul Hassan. Hassan, please come to the microphone here. Please state your name and your address for the record, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Got it. My name is Abdul Hassan, and I live at 1512 Kavanaugh Street. Well, I'm a student from Holmes High School, and I have did some research on some things that I thought would be better for our school and our public schools, okay? It is to let 16 and 17-year-old students to have right to vote in our local school board elections. Now, this has a lot of benefits. One, that our voice will be heard from you guys, and second is that our democracy is getting weakened a lot. And last year, over 1.4 million people didn't vote in elections, so because they didn't have the habit to. I feel like if we could give students a voice and make them build habit in an early age, it would help us a lot in the future, and it will help you guys to understand us better. And before I take any other further actions, okay, I thought it would be better to ask you guys first, take you guys' feedback and guidance and help. Yeah. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that feedback. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm going to be following up, so thank you. All right, we're going to move into district recognitions and presentations. I believe Mr. Garrison has our first recognition.
Okay, first let me say great job there, Abdul. I'm so proud of you. Good job. All right, we have a special recognition tonight, very, very special. I'll just jump right into it. As we celebrate 200 years of public education, we're proud to honor a remarkable educator who left a lasting legacy in our community. Miss Sadie Dean, a former teacher at the historic Lincoln Grant School, dedicated her career to serving students in the early 1950s. Born right here in Covington in 1925, Miss Dean was a student at William Grant High School before earning her teacher's degree from Kentucky State University. Tomorrow, September 12th, Miss Dean will celebrate her 100th birthday. Her century-long journey has been filled with wisdom, service, and dedication to education, students, and the community she served. In recognition of her impact and in celebration of this special occasion, we sent our team to sit down with Miss Dean. Let's listen as she reflects on her experiences, the students she taught, the legacy she helped build at Lincoln Grant School.
The teachers that I had were excellent. They were very good. Their training was very good, and they passed it on from generation to generation. And my family received a very good education from there. My brother became the judge here in Cincinnati,
Okay.
Judge Bunyan. He's deceased now. And my sister taught there. And my older sister lived to be 101. She was a product of there, and she went to Kentucky State. And my sister that taught at Lincoln Grant went to Payne College. and my brother went to Morehouse College and also to Boston University. I started, like I said, the kids have a problem, and then I wrote a program teaching parents how to teach their kids, getting them ready for school. It was called Early Intervention Preschool. I wanted to get the children before birth so I could teach parents the foods to eat that were good for developing strong minds before they come. But I ended up getting them at 2 years old, and I taught them in the home. The parents had to be present because I'm actually teaching the parents how to teach their children. And then I went from there, became a supervisor of Cincinnati Public Schools, and that's when I retired from as a supervisor. I had a very good life. I enjoyed what I did. I think there's no substitute to sending a kid ready to learn. You come to learn,
Come to learn.
and you stay in your seat,
Yep.
and you listen. You cannot do anything unless you listen to what the instructions are going to be. My biggest success story is when I saw some of the kids that I had taught graduating from school,
Yes, that's a good one, isn't it?
and I never thought they would make it that far,
And they
but
did.
they did. Oh, so many changes for the better. I think the instruction is better for kids today, and I think more courses are offered to kids, and things they never dreamed that they would have. I always tell the teacher to really study the student, to learn more about his background, more about what he has interest in, how he has proved himself that he can learn. And we're here to help him to learn more. I have advice for students that things are much better than they were when I was teaching and when I came along. Take the advantage of everything that's offered. Do not shy away from what has been offered you, and do present the best behavior that you can, and so that you can go further in life. No,
No
I
children.
gave all my life to my classroom. I seem to have longevity in my family. My dad was 97 when he passed. My mother had a short life. She died at 63. And my older sister, as I said, was 101.
Wow.
My next sister was 92, and my brother, the judge, was 97.
On behalf of Covington Independent Public Schools, we would like to wish Ms. Dean a happy 100th birthday, and thank you for your extraordinary contributions to education. To Ms. Dean's friends and families, thank you for allowing us to be part of Ms. Dean's legacy and celebration. If she has any, I think she has family here, and if they can meet me at the podium. And boys, we might want to take a picture after. Oh, can I show you? We have a special picture of Dean in front of Lincoln Grant, and then a certificate sharing how much we appreciate her service. So, all right. Thank you. And then we're going to have a picture, if you don't mind.
She was overwhelmed. I let her son, she raised him. The first one that she raised. All right, so I let him speak more about that.
There you
Hold on,
go.
I'm gonna- sorry.
Thank you all so much.
Definitely an excellent way to begin our meeting today. Ms. Edlin is going to recognize our Certified Employee of the Month.
All right.
If you could join Ms. Edlin at the podium.
I have the honor of recognizing Rebecca Codwell. Rebecca, come on up. Right. It says here in the nomination, Rebecca Codwell is a driving force in our school, someone whose influence is seen in all aspects of school life. She wears many hats, serving as a fifth grade social studies teacher, an academic team coach, SBDM member, grade level team lead, and technology lead. Clearly, she knows how to squeeze more hours out of the day. While the list of her responsibilities is long, what is even more impressive is the way she manages each role with energy, care, and a true heart for helping others. Her willingness to step in whenever she is needed has made her a constant source of support for both students and staff. Her journey as an educator began in special education, where she demonstrated creativity and determination in working with some of the most unique learners. She made sure every student felt capable and celebrated progress, no matter how small. These experiences shaped her into the teacher who knows how to meet children exactly where they are. When she transitioned to teaching fifth grade social studies, she carried those same strengths with her, pairing her high expectations with an ability to make content accessible and engaging for every child. The growth of her students achieved each year is a direct reflection of her commitment to excellence. She pushes her students even when they may not believe in themselves, and she pushes them to see their potential. Families and colleagues alike notice the way that she encourages students to rise to challenges, giving them the tools they need to be successful. The achievement gains in her classroom are significant, but the confidence and independence her students gain matter just as much. What makes Mrs. Codwell especially unique is the way she puts her own flair on everything she does. Whether she's creating a lesson, leading her team, or coaching her academic team students, she adds her own spark of creativity and personality that makes the experience memorable. Her students know that learning in her classroom will never be dull, and her colleagues know that any project she takes on will have her signature touch of excellence. Ms. Codwell's leadership extends far beyond her classroom walls, whether she's guiding a team through a new initiative, helping a teacher navigate technology, or encouraging her academic team students before a big match. She leads by example. She is steady, reliable, and always is ready to go the extra mile. Our school community is stronger because of her commitment, and we are deeply grateful for the many ways she shapes the lives of our students and staff. Give it up for Ms. Codwell.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved. I believe Ms. Williams is going to recognize our Classified Employee of the Month. And come to the, and that's Ms. Logston.
And I can't see, so I'll see. Okay. Stephanie Longston has an extraordinary gift for teaching children to read. She has proven year after year that she can take our most struggling readers and move them to grade level, a task that requires not only expertise, but also endless patience and perseverance. Her work reminds us that growth happens when students feel both supported and challenged, and she provides just the right balance of both. Her role goes as far beyond the intervention groups she leads. She is constantly in classrooms, side by side with teachers, offering support and gathering materials, and her presence is comfort because she brings knowledge, consistency, and encouragement. Even in the cafeteria, she finds ways to connect with students by learning their names, listening to their stories, and celebrating small victories with them. She creates trust and carries into the work she does with them academically. Her colleagues know that she is a rock on the reading intervention team. Her reliability and results make her an anchor, someone we never have to worry about. If the student is with Ms. Longston, they know that child will make progress. More importantly, we know that student will feel cared and believed in. She approaches each child with the conviction that they are capable of success no matter how far behind they may feel at the start. The impact of her work is profound. Test scores may show the growth, but the real evidence is in the faces of the children who now call themselves readers. For some of them, that shift in identity is life-changing. Because of her consistency and dedication, many students who once struggled now carry themselves with pride, ready to take new challenges. Our school is lucky to have her, and our students are forever changed because of her influence. Now, here you go. That's a beautiful picture.
Congratulations. Finally, we're going to have Mr. Gastrite recognize our volunteer of the month.
Put this on, I put mine on.
Okay. Our volunteer of the month, as nominated by Ms. Peach, Ms. Story, is Brian Hutchinson. And it reads, Brian Hutchinson, our fourth grade Adopt a Class lead, brings lessons to our students that reach far beyond the classroom. Each month, he and his team from Fidelity Investments give their time to teach students about life, their futures, and skills that they will need to be successful. From brainstorming ways to make money at their age, to practicing job interviews and learning how to budget, his sessions are practical, engaging, and inspiring. Students leave with a real knowledge they can carry with them, and they also leave feeling valued and capable. He does not simply lecture the students, but instead creates activities that allow them to apply what they learn. They role play interviews, calculate budgets, and talk through the importance of saving money for the future. Around the holidays, he finds creative ways to tie the season through crafts, games, and special projects. Students look forward to his visits, knowing that they will be both fun and meaningful. What makes Mr. Hutchinson stand out even more is his ability to connect with kids on a personal level. He remembers their names and details about their lives, showing them that they matter and that he genuinely cares about who they are. Even students who can be tough to reach find themselves opening up to him because he treats them with respect and takes time to build trust. He and his team go the extra mile by bringing goodie bags to each meeting and ending the year with a field trip that brings their lessons to life. His dedication and impact have not gone unnoticed. Out of more than 4,000 team leads, Mr. Hutchinson was honored as an Adopt the Class Team Lead of the Year. Great job. This award is a reflection of the excellence we see in him each time he visits our school. He is preparing our students not just for their next grade level, but for life itself. And we are grateful for the way he invests in their futures with so much heart and commitment. So thank you so much, Brian.
Congratulations. Before we recognize our academic team, I believe Mr. Hopkins wanted to address the board in our recognition of Ms. Dean. So please come to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to personally thank everyone that was involved in this 200-year celebration, but also in this 100-year celebration of my aunt who raised me, and I call her my mother and she calls me her son. That could have been confusing if I had said my aunt mother, you know? But she's been a wonderful person in my life. She never raised her voice at me, and I know there were some times when I wrecked the car, she never shouted or screamed. When I broke the window at the neighbor's house down the street, she was still calm and patient. But I think she used those as learning experiences for herself and for me. And that is to be compassionate no matter what the situation is. And when I look around and see all these people here today, I'm just glad and proud that we could get together as one, because we haven't always been that way, but we are today. And for all those people that came up to me and said, thank you for coming, I want to say thank you for making this possible. And my cousin, Pam Mullins, who's in the back, she's another one who's been a catalyst in our family. She's worked hard on this side of the Ohio River. Mm-hmm. But before I get too emotional, let me just say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be tough to beat this meeting next month, Mr. Garrison, so we're going to have to think about that. And we still have to recognize our academic team. Ms. Peach and Ms. Story are here, and we have lots of students and families in the audience.
All right. Last year's academic team had a season to remember. With hours of preparation and teamwork, they finished the regular season undefeated. Each practice and match showcased their dedication, perseverance, and growth as students. Their commitment and ability to work toward a common goal brought pride not only to the team, but also to the entire school community, serving as a reminder that preparation, teamwork, and determination can lead to remarkable success. The highlight of the year came when they faced the staff in a spirited match at the end of the season. The room was filled with laughter, cheers, and school spirit as students demonstrated their knowledge and celebrated their accomplishments. While their undefeated record is impressive, the true impact of the academic team is seen in their perseverance, curiosity, and love of learning, which continue to inspire the entire school community. Please join us in congratulating our academic team students. We have Jude Spisak, Ella Gallenstein, Jonah Randall, Liam Geraldo, Max Gastrite, Weston Zamerk, Harrison Hurry, Bryson Perry Francis, and Nazir Odin. And their coach is Miss Caldwell, who was recognized as our Employee of the Month.
Ms. Peach, did I hear you say they were undefeated?
They were undefeated.
Oh, well, let me shake those guys.
I know. Very, very smart kiddos.
Where's their goodie bag? Where's their goodie bag? A goodie bag?
Awesome. Well, that certainly is a wonderful way to begin a meeting. I will, at this point, we'll do a small recess. So for those of you who don't want to stay for the rest of our business meeting tonight, you are certainly free to go. So we'll stand at recess for just a few moments. All right. Wow, what a great way to start a meeting. So we'll go into our informational items now. Mr. Kippenbrock is here for our performance monitoring this month, focused on human resources.
Good evening. So I was provided a list of questions by the board. I believe you were all provided answers to the data we maintain there. And answer to question 2, you'll notice I indicated we'll get some of that reason for separation of employment from the Upbeat exit data survey. So they're joining us virtually. If it's okay with the chair, we'll move directly on to them to begin to review some of that data. So I'd like to turn it over to Sharon and Andrew from Upbeat to present that exit data from last school year.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yep, we can.
Wonderful. I'm going to share my screen, and while I'm doing that, I'll let Sharon, your all's Upbeat leadership coach, introduce yourself, since this is the first time joining your all board meeting while I'm getting that set up.
Thanks, Andrew. Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. So my name is Sharon Marino, and as Andrew mentioned, I am your district's Upbeat leadership coach. I'm coming to you from the Philadelphia area. I served in the school district of Philadelphia for about 23 years as a teacher, a reading first coach, an instructional coach, a principal coach and mentor, and stepped away a few years ago and now do educational coaching and consulting, both in the Philadelphia area as well as with Upbeat, which is across the country. I also just want to take a moment to say, I also serve on my local school board, which is just outside Philadelphia. And so I just want to express my gratitude to all of you for your time, your service to your community. And I thought that we did a lot of celebrating at the beginning of our board meetings, but you certainly outshined us this evening. So that was just beautiful to watch. So thank you. Really excited to be here with you, with Andrew, and happy to support in any way we can this evening.
So what we'll kind of present on today is we'll go over the goals and focus areas of the exit survey particularly. I know previously we had shared results on the pilot of the engagement survey, but now we're focusing on just those employees who have departed. We'll go over the participation rate, just who are these people in who have completed the survey, and overview there. And Sharon will walk us through some areas of strength and opportunity that we pulled out from those departed teacher responses. And then we will also preview a kind of survey trends between the exit and pilot engagement survey when just looking at the two schools that engaged in both survey types. And then we can end with questions, comments, and next steps. So the goals and focus areas were twofold for the exit survey this year. One, using employee feedback to better understand why teachers depart and help focus teacher retention efforts at Covington. Answering the question, what are the reasons teachers are citing, as factors for their departure? Additionally, another goal was just to increase participation in exit surveys from departing employees. Historically, there was an estimate that between 10 and 20% completion on those exit surveys from Covington teachers who departed prior to the Upbeat implementation. Last year, during our first years in a partnership in school year 23-24, we had about a 56% completion rate. This year, we maintained a very similar percentage. There were 38 total completions of the exit survey from departing teachers at a 58% completion rate. That outpaced the Upbeat national average on exit surveys by 2%. We asked teachers to identify certain characteristics about their departure and who they are in the survey. And one of the questions is what type of job they're switching to. What this graph is showing is that a majority of the teachers who completed this survey are continuing to work in public education elsewhere. outside of Covington. 71% are teaching in another public school district. Additionally, there is 8% of these teachers are teaching in private schools. And then there is also a 3% of teachers who are taking a non-teaching job in education. So adding all those up, 82% of this survey population is continuing to work in education elsewhere. That is above our global cluster from what we've seen in the exit survey. Additionally, we ask what factor contributed most to their decision to leave. Factors at the school were cited most in this question at 39%, followed by factors related to the district at 32%, followed by factors unrelated to my job at 21%, and followed by factors related to the teaching profession in general at 8%. And lastly, we ask just what is the employment status of the person who is completing this survey. Most of the employees who completed this survey had already found their next job. And then the next highest, 29%, were looking for a job. 8% of this survey constitutes retirees, and 3% were leaving for health-related reasons. When we think about the exit survey, I always find it helpful to share an example of what a question looks like. And we codify A and B when departing employees cite the reason as not at all or a little bit as a positive response, because that means that person is saying that this factor didn't really contribute to their decision to leave. C on a 5-point Likert scale, we codify as neutral, and then D and E, we codify as negative because the employee is stating that this factor impacted them quite a bit or a tremendous amount in their decision to leave. I'll pass over to Sharon to talk about some areas of strength we saw from this data.
Thanks, Andrew. So just to piggyback off of what Andrew said, the blue again is saying that this is not a factor or just a little bit of a factor. And so areas of strength on why your teachers decided to leave that are not contributing are first the benefits. So 87% of your teachers said that poor benefits contributed not at all or just a little bit in their decision to leave the district. And on the right-hand side, you can see this is the comparison to the previous year. You can see that this is a comparison to the previous year, all right? Compared to our national global cluster, that's actually 9% higher than what our global cluster says. So that was one reason. Another is saying that 84% of your teachers said that dissatisfaction with the quality of life in the area that they live in contributed, again, not at all or a little bit to their decision to leave. And that is, you can see the decrease from the previous year, and compared to the global cluster, it's a 4% decrease. And then the third factor, 79% of your teachers shared dissatisfaction with grade level or subject teaching assignment did not contribute or only contributed a little bit to their decision to leave, meaning that the assignment that they have, the position that they have was really, they were quite satisfied with. So slight increase from the year before and a 6% decrease than the global cluster. All right. We're just going to take a moment here to shift right into the areas of opportunity. So while we're noticing that these are really not factors, what we're seeing here on the screen now could be some contributing factors to why folks are leaving. And so you'll notice here, the first factor, 53% of teachers said that lack of professional autonomy contributed a tremendous amount or quite a bit, we're looking at the red here, in their decision to leave the district. You can see the correlation on the right-hand side, the comparison, a 5% decrease. And compared to our global cluster, it's actually an 18% decrease in that space. So that's one factor. The second one talks about the lack of trust with school leaders. So 50% of teachers said that the lack of trust with school leaders contributed a tremendous amount or quite a bit in their decision. And you can see again the comparison to the previous year. Similar is the global cluster comparison as well. And then the last piece is that 42% of those who took the survey, of the 38 that took the survey, said that poor work-life balance contributed a tremendous amount or quite a bit in their decision to leave the district. And you can see that's an 11% decrease, right on par with where we are with the global cluster as well. All right. I don't know if you, yeah, well, I'll pass it back to Andrew and we'll save some time and space at the end for questions for sure.
The last thing we wanted to show you all, and especially since this upcoming year, we'll be doing the engagement survey with the across the entire district at all schools, is we took the results from the exit survey from departing employees, just from the 2 schools that were involved in the pilot of the engagement survey, and looked for some trends between the engagement results of staff who filled out that survey, and then what those departing employees from that staff also said. And so what this is showing you and is outlining is a couple of places where there are similarities, but then also where there are maybe some contradictions in the data. Personal safety at school on the top left comes in highly positive on the engagement survey. Staff feel safe, and it also is a low factor for leaving. So personal safety is not cited as a strong factor by employees departing the school. Classroom management was cited lowly on the engagement survey, but it was also a low factor for leaving from employees. So they're not citing this as a reason for their departure. Principal teacher trust was cited very positively in the engagement survey, one of the strengths across both schools, but it was when employees departed, that was a more frequently cited factor for their departure. And then compensation was cited low on the engagement survey and was also cited frequently as a reason that influenced departures. In terms of next steps of our partnership and our work together, we do have, as I mentioned, that fall engagement survey with all instructional staff across all schools that will be between October 27th and November 7th. And Sharon will be working one-on-one to support principals with culture and climate work following the survey based on school-specific results. Our exit survey for 25-26 is live to administer on a rolling basis. So as employees depart, we will administer that on a rolling basis for this year as well. I'll pause for any questions and comments.
I think I want to do this a little. Ken, do you have anything to add to the data that you compiled for the questions that the board had? Any other context you want to provide there? Okay, so I'll just open it up for the board to questions about kind of the whole thing, either for the team at Upbeat or Mr. Kippenbrock or Superintendent Garrison. Mr. Gastry.
I've got no questions.
Great. Ms. Williams.
Just one question. You said 70% plus went on to teach at other places. Do we know if they stayed in the state or, county or otherwise?
I'll let Andrew answer too, but I don't believe the survey gets more specific than staying in education. In other words, it doesn't ask if you go to like Cincinnati Public as opposed to another district.
Okay.
That's something we can conceivably add. Go ahead, Andrew.
Mr. Kippenbrock is right there.
Is that something that the board wanted we could add to our exit survey?
It's just a question. I don't know if that has to be added in or specific. I'm just
Gotcha.
I mean, you would want to keep the anonymity as much as possible, but curious if they were staying in the state of Kentucky, it might be interesting.
Or even in the region.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted that.
Yeah. Let's noodle on that. Mr. Simpson?
Just not a question, but a comment. I just want to double down to say how great of an idea this was to try to get to keep our teachers and to figure out why we had such a high turnover. As we move forward, I'm happy to watch as we are engaging in the recommendations that are being given to us. Just have to make sure that there is a difference between being actively engaged and being passively engaged. So we just want to make sure we stay intentional and actively engaged. Great job.
Ms. Edlin?
I had a reflection and then a question. My reflection was along the lines of that it was interesting to see how closely the working conditions, the outcomes of the working conditions survey are really kind of in alignment with many of the outcomes we saw in the exit survey data. So that's, it's good to know that we're aware of the challenges that exist and there's some alignment there. I was particularly drawn to the feedback and coaching within the working conditions survey. It was specifically around the teacher evaluation process. Many teachers indicated that they did not feel that that evaluation process was effective. And so I guess whether it's to Ken or Mr. Garrison, what are we doing as far as trying to improve that evaluation process for teachers?
I know the Certified Evaluation Committee is meeting to, it hasn't been redone, as you know, in a number of years, and part of that is because of some changes that were made, and then changes that were made again before we could even implement the first set of changes. So Mr. Alter and I have dates set with that committee, and of course there are teachers and administrators on that, so we'll definitely hear their feedback of how that become a more effective tool and try to fine tune it.
So just to clarify, is the goal of that committee to make those evaluations more effective and guide that process?
Sure, that's certainly a part of that process.
Okay. And then when you look at the data disaggregated, you see that Glen Swing and 6 had declines in the survey, whereas a majority of the other schools saw improvements. When you see declines like this, what's typically the district's response?
We normally schedule a meeting and with the principal. As a matter of fact, we pretty much sit down with all of them to release their data and to talk to them about it. But with schools that are declined, we try to encourage them to develop a plan to how they're going to improve it. And so then we follow up on their plan after they develop it.
That's helpful. Thank you. I was just reflecting on the student data that was in a chart. I appreciate all the data that was provided. I was loving digging into that. Bless you. But to me, if I was looking at it correctly, I think I was looking at another resource, but I had noted that over time, our populations are becoming more diverse. We're seeing an increase in ELL students, an increase in free and reduced lunch, as well as an increase in homeless students, as well as just a general fluctuation of students enrolled across our district. And, you know, this is related, I think, to the topic that we'll talk a little bit about later, the increase. And so when we get to that point, I'd love to hear about like why we're making that request as it relates to the SEEK allocation at the state level. All this to say is I know that the state, I'll get to this point when we get to it in the agenda. My apologies. I'll yield my time and kick it to you.
Thank you. Do we do will the impact working condition survey that will be done this school year again?
That's another
every
on
2 years.
year, I believe, for impact.
Okay, great. Mr. Gastre.
Just a comment. I just wanted to thank Ken for pulling together all the information. I know this is a new process. It takes additional time, but thank you. It's very helpful. So it will be helpful to get the new impact survey data. I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Mr. Haggard, you'd also asked me to update the board on the RFP for the
Please.
salary and compensation study. So just wanted to review, I sent this an email too if you need it, but the timeline, we're trying to move very quickly on that. The RFP was advertised August 11. The deadline for the RFP questions was August 21 to get to me. We had 5 days to respond to those and post them on the website. Proposals are due tomorrow at 2 p.m. We've already received 2 responses. They're still sealed. The evaluation committee is set to meet September 16th. Reason being, we went quick turnaround on that to bring it to the board on September 25th, the second September meeting, hopefully for approval, so that we can start the work on October 1, give them 5 full months to work with us to do that. So that would end at the end of February, hopefully in time that the budget committee could take any of that information they saw fit and act on that. So that's an update on where we are with that.
Another incredibly important tool. It's going to be at our disposal. All right, thank you, Mr. Kippenbrock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the KSBA 2025 procedure update review. These are just for the board to review. I'll turn it over to the policy committee. Or if there's any questions from the board. We've seen them. They've been reviewed.
Yeah.
Great. Personnel actions and school council meeting minutes are in your book as well. If you have any questions, please reach out to Mr. Kippenbrock unless you want to raise any right now. Great. Next, we're going to move on to the report of the treasurer. Director Birchie's here to talk to us about the fiscal year 26 working budget.
Good evening. I'm a little shorter than most people, so I have to change that mic. So in your packet, the first agenda item I have is the working budget. So this is informational tonight. It will come back to you as a board approval for the end of the month because we have to submit all that information to the Kentucky Department of Education by the end of the month. So we'll focus on the general fund first and go over that. That is our operation budget. That's the biggest budget in the whole packet, and then I'll open it up for questions, and then we'll go on to the other funds. So the general fund budget is made up of $62 million, about $12 million in on behalfs. To gently remind the board, the on behalfs is where the state pays for health insurance for some of us, all kinds of other on behalf payments that then we book into Munis, our financial system, as revenue and expenses net effect. We're really not collecting any revenue. The last couple years, it was budgeted at 14 million. I think with the liabilities being changed from the auditor standards, it used to be that little higher. Now it's adjusted down to about 12. So I wanted to adjust that to not inflate the budget. So at one time it was 14, and now I moved it down to 12. So out of that $62 million, on behalf is 12. So you're really looking at operations of about $50 million. So in your packet, you have the Munis report that shows all the information, along with the Excel spreadsheet that takes a deeper dive into the accounting codes where you can see different departments and different schools, along with the Word document that I started a few years ago in regards to some narrative. It talks about what we've changed since May to what we are doing now for the working budget. You know, in previous conversations I have with you, we are always waiting to right before school starts to deal with where everybody's located, if they've switched jobs, if we got new hires, if people have left. So we're building that budget the last couple weeks before school starts. And our salaries and fringes make up about 79% of our budget. So it's a huge task that I work with the payroll department. We look at the staffing directory. So I have conversations with other people that are making sure that I know where everybody is in the buildings. And so we pull that all together. So that's a big ticket item that we've been doing over since we last spoke about this. We change non-personnel items, like when I lock into SRO contracts and different things, the TLC lease, I change all that if we have to over the summer. So I won't repeat everything I put in that Word document. I'm just trying to talk about highlights so we can share with the board. Contingency is at 7.41%. I think I made that comment when we were talking about taxes the last board meeting. And we had taken out the savings for raises in the future years when usually we try to budget our budget at 10% contingency plus some savings for the next year raises. That is now down to 7.41 with no money sitting in that savings pot. So I just want to make sure you know that. We're finding in these grants that the grants that we get from the state or federal level are not supporting the program. Kira Preschool, that started a couple years ago, that we get so much money from the state for that program, and to be able to run that program, we have now had to pick up some more salaries. We always did pay for operations like of custodians and things like that, a few positions, but the direct impact to teachers and IAs, we are now trying to have to come up with general fund dollars, which is a huge expense, to then run that program for our bigs, our preschool. So I wanted to highlight that. as well as now we're seeing that shift in Idea B. Idea B, if you know, that is a supplemental in nature. We do have a lot of staff positions in general fund, so it's a big ticket expense in general fund, but Idea B helps supplement it. Well, it's not supplementing it is at the level we used to because, of course, the raises that we've given over the last couple years and things costing more, we have to now keep giving more in the general fund to help run that program. So I wanted to share that with you. Then the board is very gracious in regards to the daycare program to be able to support that program. We transfer about $240,000 in general fund over to that program to help run that. And then a lot of the other highlights are in that Word document. So that's on the expense side. The revenue side highlights the beginning balance is coming in at $12.1 million. That's one of our biggest revenue streams, along with SEEK. That's the state allocation. We are budgeting at 95%. It's roughly $13.8 million for SEEK. Then the third big tax revenue stream is the tax rate that we have discussed last time. That will be the next board agenda item for approval because I need to turn that documents into the clerk's office by tomorrow. And we are proposing that we are asking for the 4%. That's roughly $19.3 million with a 97% collection rate. So again, I talked about that in the taxes that the trend is 97%. Then I decreased some revenue streams like investment income and Medicaid has gone down. I've increased other ones based on trends. So I won't go into all those details, but those are the highlights of the revenue side. Again, comes out to about 62 million with those on behalfs coming out at 12, so about 50. So I will open it up for questions.
Questions on the general fund? Mr. Gastrite? Ms. Williams?
No questions.
Mr. Simpson? Ms. Edlin?
Okay. The next part of our budget is grants. So grants come in about $10.8 million. And that is, we get a lot of money from the federal government in regards to like Title I and Idea B that then comes down to Kentucky Department of Ed, then it gets channeled down into the school districts. You have state grants that I mentioned like Kira Preschool, you have Gifted and Talented, which are smaller. So what I do over the summer, since we last talked about this, is I work with every grant coordinator to say who's in those programs, have to figure their salary and fringes as well, and then anything to help support a non-personnel that isn't salary and fringes. So we work on that over the summer as well, and it's about $10.7 million to our budget. Any questions on that since that's the second biggest pot of money?
Go.
The next pot is Fund 25, which is our Red Book money. If you remember a few years ago, it used to all be housed at the schools. It is still housed at the school for the campus, but we brought all the other schools in-house, so it runs through those monthly financials that you get every month from me. What happens is at year end, when we reconcile and close all the books, we take what was left over, and the ending balance becomes the beginning balance for each school. So it's the same concept like general fund, but this is school specific then. And so their budget is starting roughly at $70,000 because that's what they roughly had left over. And so then we just put it in those pots of money, those certain projects, because they have several projects they have. And if they collect any money throughout the year, then we're adding to that 70K, but then they're spending money too. So that's the Red Book funds, Fund 25. Then I always talk about the capital outlay, building fund, and debt service together, because if I'll gently remind you, capital outlay and building fund is that revenue that comes in. Capital outlay, money comes in separate, and then the building fund is the nickel, which now we have 2 nickels, so that's where it comes in at, is in the building fund. So that's all revenue on Fund 310 and 320. But now we have to use that to be able to pay our bond payments, and so that comes out of Fund 400 debt service. So we do make our bond payments. The general fund does have the capital funds request in that we've done yearly about I can take property insurance and pay it out of building fund and move it into general fund, as well as buses. And so we have put that in the general fund budget. And so we subtract that off because we have enough for our bond payments as well as to do the capital funds request and still have money left if we do some more projects that we'll owe more bond payments for. That comes out to the revenue side of it is about 3.5, and then the debt service is 3.1 because you take that capital funds of almost 400 and move it to general fund. Then the next fund is nutrition services, Fund 51. We figure the salary and fringes like we do with every other person in the district. So I work on that over the summer as well as non-personnel. So I work with Ms. Stewart in creating those budgets. That comes in at about $3.6 million in nutrition services. Then our last fund we deal with is Fund 52. That's the daycare fund. It sits at about $472,000. So the difference between what you as a board give in general fund, which I quoted it to be $240,000. That difference is we are getting money from parents that pay tuition and or state money to make up the difference to get to the $472,000. Again, I crunch the numbers. What are people making now with our raises? And then figure out non-personnel with Miss Terry in that program. So when you put all our funds together for the district, it comes out to be $80.5 million that comes across through the district funds and all the different pots. So I will open it up for any of those questions and all those other areas.
Questions? I'll start on this side. Ms. Edlin?
As we think about the challenges at the federal level, are we anticipating specifically related to nutritional services? How are we monitoring those funds that we receive?
We have actually lost funding in that as well. We used to have a very healthy carryover in that. You have to really watch it because auditors say you should only carry 3 months of carryover. So we've been very healthy for a long time. Within the last year or two, it has gone down. So I've been talking to Ms. Stewart over the last year or two. She's aware of it. I'm aware of it, that we're not getting the amount of revenue we would get for meal reimbursement. Again, plays a factor. You're giving more raises, higher dollar amounts, then you're not getting the revenue in as much. And so that's why that carryover, you're eating into the carryover, just like we were doing in general fund and things. So we're monitoring it. I'm having those conversations with her. I want to make sure her and I are on the same page.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the CEP provision in SNAP, and so many of our kids they fall within the criteria, that's how we get funding from that to support our nutritional services, right?
Right. It's a program that you used to be able to turn all those applications in and you have to hunt down to have the parents fill it out. Now I forget it's community. I forget the acronym.
The CEP,
yeah, right.
though,
Yes.
Okay.
And so yes.
Okay. All right. That's all my questions.
I would reiterate, I think as we're having conversations about raises, and it always comes up, and I think Director Berkey has been always bringing this to our attention, but it's important to remember that, if we're giving raises, we have the ability to raise revenue in the general fund. We don't necessarily have opportunities to raise revenue in some of our more restricted and grant funds because they are what they are. So we do have to have that balance as we're having that conversation. So I know you've said it multiple times. I just wanted to bring it back to everyone's attention. Mr. Simpson.
I just wanted to comment. Thank you for your due diligence with the budget. I know it's never easy.
Thank you.
Kind of putting these things together, and just kind of look forward to kind of working with you on different things with the budget.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams.
The only thing I had might be for comment at the end.
Okay. Mr. Gashner.
Thank you for your great work.
Thank you.
No other comments.
Yeah. I did say one thing that Ms. Williams and I talked about as members of the budget committee. We were curious because I think with all of the federal uncertainty that we're having, if it's something where we may start to bring the budget committee together monthly and then wait till the spring and we can come together more regularly as we're really diving into the budget. So I do want to put that on the table. It might be good for us to bring our committee together monthly in the off season, just once a month, and kind of keep monitoring things. And as things come up, I think it would just be important and help the board have assurance. But I do want to thank Ms. Williams and all the members of the budget committee who really leaned in the spring and throughout the summer. And obviously, you all know that I can never tout Director Bergey's leadership enough. We're very lucky to have someone of her caliber as our finance director. And as I know I've said multiple times, as you've seen multiple school districts across the country scramble and scary things happen, we're in a very strong financial position in Covington, and that is going to allow us to really support our kids and teachers. And a lot of that is, kudos to the leadership of Director Bergey. And so I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you.
This is informational, so in the meantime, if you do have any questions that come up, reach out to Director Bergey. You can have those conversations offline. She has one more item for us.
So last time I brought to you information on taxes. I won't go over the chart and all that data again because I felt like we did a deeper dive then. So I will just bring it to your attention that we are again asking for the 4%. That would be a 95.1 real estate rate along with the 96.8 personal property rate. And kind of motor vehicle kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It stays the same at 85.9, but you do have to approve that rate so that the motor vehicle tax will be the same in regards to that. So I want to make sure I name drop each one of those rates. And so we are asking, we have to have it approved this evening.
I'm going to ask for a motion to approve. Is there a second? Is there any discussion of the board? I'll just go on record as saying, I have fought with Director Bergey and the superintendent about tax rates. And I feel like we've had such a good back and forth and good discussion about this. And I will tell you, if I am voting to raise the tax rate, it is desperately needed, as Mr. Kippenbrock talked about, especially with the RFP that's out, for us to do a comprehensive review of our salary schedule and to make sure that we are paying our employees what they need to make and so that we can be competitive in this region. This is going to be an incredibly important piece to make sure that we're going to be able to fulfill that once the budget committee reconvenes in the spring and we consider a new salary schedule. In addition, as we have the master facilities plan out, this also, the second nickel continues to help with that. So with that, there's a motion, there's a second, there's no discussion. Ms. Egan, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Gastrike?
Yes.
Ms. Evelyn?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Haggard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bergey. Next, we have the consent agenda. Would anyone like anything pulled off the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
Ms. Egan?
Ms. Evelyn?
Yes.
Mr. Gastrike?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Haggard?
Yes. We have one individual approval item tonight, and that is the contract with the superintendent search firm that the board has agreed to work with, Alma Advisory Group. I sent you all a copy of the contract. Ms. Meehan and their attorney are just working out a few tiny little details that are not going to impact the substantive nature of the contract. This is obviously a huge step in one of the most important decisions that we're going to make as a board, is who is going to be our next leader. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to approve the contract.
I'll make a motion with the stipulation that those items that you need to take care of are taken care of.
A second.
Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to say I thought it was great that we all came together and was able to even pick the same.
Yes. It was a wonderful process. I thought we all had some good conversations. I obviously appreciate all of you as my colleagues and our candor. So I think we're really excited about working with this team. So Ms. Egan, we call the roll, please.
Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Gastrike?
Yes.
Ms. Evelyn?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Haggard?
Yes. We do not have an addendum agenda tonight. Do we have a report of the superintendent?
Yes, sir, we do. A lot of exciting things to start the school year off. As you all are aware, we had a PD Academy August 13th and 14th, over 300 registered folks that attended over the 2 days. Of course, we're celebrating our 200-year kickoff, and we did that opening day. We also had the opportunity of recognizing Mr. Hume for his 60 years of service. We again want to thank Mr. Hume for that. He is such a fine leader, and he's just terrific, a great staple of our community. Great start to the school year. We normally have a meeting with our leaders at the end of the first week. We did that. Everybody gave us really good news about the start, and folks are excited to be back. Kids, as you can see with Abdul, they're all excited. They're pumped up. We're trying to keep that momentum, and that's what I encouraged our leaders to do. I want to give a shout out also to the District Enrollment Center. Those folks, this is a busy time. I talked to them today. I went by there. and they said it's starting to finally slow down a little bit, but they do a terrific job and ensuring our kids are enrolled and have all their paperwork in to get them in school immediately. So thank you to the District Enrollment Center. If you're not aware, we launched a new website and app. I think you all are aware, but if you're not, that was led by Ms. Vance and her team with Ms. Wood, and I think Mr. Director White might have had something to do with that as well. So I think it was a collaborative effort, but new website. I encourage you to go take a look at it and get an app and see how to navigate the app. I think you'll be impressed. I know I am. Fall sports are in action, and I think our kids are glad to have that. You know, summertime sometimes gets a little long. You know, at the beginning of summer, it's always fun to get out of school. But then towards the end, although they don't like telling you they're glad to be back, a lot of times they're glad to be back and participating in our fall sports. So go Bulldogs there. We want to invite you to our homecoming celebration. We're going to also, like we normally do, have a parade, but this year we're bringing in, you know, the 200 theme, and I think it'll be an exciting time for the community. I think we're inviting a lot of folks back to be a part of that. So if you can place it on your schedule, I think our community would love to see you out there. That's Friday, September 26th. Parade starts at 5, and I think the game is 7:30. And then I think next Monday and Tuesday is the superintendent's summit. So I'll be in Lexington, followed by the following Monday and Tuesday is the continuous improvement summit. And we're taking a team down there to continuously improve. So that's all I have to report. Do you all have any questions about anything?
Any questions for the superintendent? A great report. Exciting start to the school year. I'm sorry, Ms. Williams.
Why do we start the games so late?
Well, normally our games start at 7, but I think our opponent for the homecoming, I think probably has some travel time. And so sometimes when they have to travel a long distance, we sort of start them at a later time, 7:30. And I think we might even have one game at 8 this year, if I'm not mistaken. I see Mr. Magner shaking his head. I think that might have been the one Greene County or just happened. Yeah, we had one at 8 because Greene County's near my old stomping grounds of Elizabethtown. It's just south of us in Elizabethtown in Hardin County. So yeah, they had quite a distance to travel to get up here. So that's the reason why.
Sounds good. Do we have a report of the attorney?
I have nothing to report this evening.
Any board member discussion or comments?
I just wanted to finish my reflection from earlier. The tab 2 of Mr. Kippenbrock's sheet that described the growing needs of our students is directly related to the need for this tax increase. And I think it's important that we just note this as we go into the next budget session. We know that in Kentucky, local districts are continuing to pick up the education tab in so many ways, and the state is complacent with regard to how they're contributing to SEEK. And so I believe it's part of our responsibility as school board members to be present and to be advocating. And I thought the data that Mr. Kippenbrock provided demonstrates our growing needs in our district. So that's what I wanted to flag. And at the time, my brain was not quite computing. So thank you for my patience as I gathered my thoughts. And with that, I have no other comments.
Incredibly important to point out, Ms. Edlin. I think, I think we'll be looking for some guidance from the superintendent on what the Superintendent's Association will be advocating for in this General Assembly session. That's a budget year. We'll certainly be looking to our folks at KSBA, but obviously I think we have some really fine advocates around this table that can be leaders and voices in that. So I hope you all will lean in on that. I did just want to call your attention in your red folder. There is a report from Adopt a Class and their district impact report for Covington schools. Obviously we recognized, I apologize. We recognized Mr. Hutchinson earlier today. But if you're not familiar with Adopt a Class, it's an incredible organization that's really helping to, kind of open the eyes and open the minds of many of our students, especially at the elementary school and middle school. I was lucky enough when I was working in the Department of Community and Family Engagement, we participated in Adopt a Class with Ms. Furnish's class at John G. Carlisle. So if your business or businesses that you know would like to participate in Adopt a Class, I'd encourage you to get in touch with them. And we still have, I think, classrooms to fill at Holmes Middle School and some of our other schools as well. So we need some more good Covington businesses to be a part of this.
How would interested parties make that connection?
They can connect with Dr. Finney or myself, and we'll get them connected with the right people. All right. With that, you have several upcoming events. Mr. Garrison stole my thunder with the parade and the homecoming football game coming up. Very exciting. It looks like fall break is also on the horizon here at the beginning of October. The next time that the Covington Board of Education will meet is September the 25th. And surprise, surprise, we have no need for an executive session tonight.
What?
So I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Let's adjourn. Thank you all. Good night.